The Galactic Council's grand chamber was silent, a silence so profound it seemed to absorb sound itself. Holograms of thousands of worlds flickered above the polished obsidian floor. Their ambassadors gathered to discuss what they called the cleansing of Tarsi's Prime. The official report described it as a strategic purification, a removal of a violent species. What it truly was genocide. And humanity had just found out the Terran representative had not attended the meeting. No one had seen Ambassador Riley in weeks. The Council assumed Earth, ever the new and naive addition to the interstellar fold, would issue another formal protest and do nothing more. After all, humans had been trying hard to prove they could be civilized, that they belonged among the stars, but then, the Council's central comms hub went dark. Every system, every feed, every security drone froze midair. The holograms vanished. In their place, a single symbol burned across the chamber walls, the blue and white emblem of Earth, ringed by the words, United Terran Systems. And beneath it, a message began to play. "This is Admiral Holt of the Terran Defense Fleet," the voice said, steady but cold. "We have received confirmation that the Varexi Dominion eradicated 12 billion sentient lives on Tarsi's Prime. Entire cities vaporized. Children incinerated. Council members, your silence makes you complicit. This is your only warning. Earth will not remain civilized while monsters wear crowns." A murmur rippled through the assembly. The Varexi delegate rose to his feet, chittering indignantly. "These are unfounded accusations." The Varexi merely, his words stopped as the image shifted. Satellite feeds, intercepted comm logs, thermal scans, humanity showed everything. There was no denying it. The slaughter was deliberate. Then came the second feed, a fleet assembling in orbit around Mars. Thousands of ships, each bristling with weaponry. Not sleek, elegant vessels like those of the Council races. These ships were brutal, industrial, human. They looked like war itself had been given form. "Your Council failed," Admiral Holt continued. "So we will deliver justice ourselves." The image cut to black. For the first time in centuries, the Council called an emergency war session. Panic spread through the alien empires like wildfire. Humanity had always been underestimated, the upstart species that preached peace while quietly building defenses no one thought they'd use. Now, they were mobilizing in full. Within 48 hours, Terran fleets had breached Varexi space. The Dominion's border worlds fell in silence, orbital bombardment so precise they erased military targets without touching civilians. But when the humans found the command world responsible for the genocide, there was no restraint left. The footage that leaked from the assault was never officially verified, but the whispers persisted. They said human soldiers descended from orbit in black armor, carrying rail cannons that split tanks like paper. They said the skies burned red as Terran dreadnoughts fired mass driver rounds large enough to crack continents. They said humanity broadcast one message to every Varexi world before the final strike: you wanted extinction. Let's see how it feels. The Council pleaded for negotiation. The humans ignored every call. The rules of interstellar diplomacy had died with Tarsi's Prime. Earth's leaders made no speeches, issued no declarations. They simply acted, with terrifying precision. When the Dominion finally surrendered, there was no celebration. Humanity didn't demand tribute or territory. Instead, they released every classified file, every name, every official, every general who had ordered or supported the genocide. Then they transmitted a single statement to the Council chambers: justice is not diplomacy. In the aftermath, the galaxy changed. The Council drafted new laws against planetary purges and war crimes, but everyone knew the truth: those laws existed only because humanity had enforced them through fire and iron. Even the most powerful empires began to whisper new words when they spoke of Earth: not primitive, not ambitious. They called them the enforcers, and yet, on Earth itself, there was no triumph. In the dark halls of Terran Command, Admiral Holt stood before a window overlooking the scorched remains of captured Varexi warships. His aide, a young officer, hesitated before asking, "Sir, do you think they'll ever forgive us?" Holt's eyes never left the stars. "Forgiveness," he said quietly. "That's for the innocent. We stopped being innocent the moment we decided we wouldn't play civilized anymore." The aide swallowed hard. "Then what are we now?" Holt turned, his gaze hard as steel. "What we've always been," he said. "Human." Years later, historians across the galaxy would debate whether Earth's retaliation was justified or monstrous. But none would ever forget the phrase that reshaped interstellar politics forever, the warning that echoed through every council hall, every imperial throne, every trembling ambassador: no more playing civilized. The Galactic Council's grand chamber was silent, a silence so deep it pressed against the mind. Holograms of thousands of worlds shimmered faintly above the obsidian floor, while delegates whispered behind trembling hands. The official report called it the cleansing of Tarsi's Prime. The truth? It was genocide. 12 billion dead. Entire species erased. And humanity had just found out. For a week, the Council debated responsibility. For a week, Earth remained silent. The galaxy assumed the humans were licking their wounds, the young species that had tried so hard to act civilized. They'd issue a protest, maybe a speech about morality, and then do nothing. That was how the galaxy worked then. The Council's communications grid went dark. Across half the galaxy, every relay, every channel flickered out. In their place appeared a single symbol, the blue-white seal of Earth. A human voice followed, low and clear. "This is Admiral Holt of the Terran Defense Fleet," it said. "We have seen the images. We have the data. The Varexi Dominion exterminated Tarsi's Prime. And the Council did nothing. You call it politics. We call it murder." The voice paused, then hardened. "Understand this, Earth is done pretending. We tried your diplomacy. We tried your patience. But this time, no more playing civilized." The message cut out, and the galaxy held its breath. Hours later, sensors detected massive energy spikes in Sol system. Fleet signatures, thousands of them, forming near Mars orbit. Humanity's hidden armada was awakening. The Terran ships were nothing like the elegant, crystalline designs of other races. They were brutal things: iron, tungsten, and fury, painted black against the void. Their hulls carried scars from countless simulations and secret wars. The humans had prepared for this day, even while smiling in council chambers. When the first Terran fleet entered Varexi space, there were no declarations of war. No ultimatums. Just silence, and then annihilation. Planetary defense grids melted under focused rail bombardments. Orbital stations cracked apart like glass. The Varexi, famed for their cold efficiency, begged for parley within 3 days. Humanity didn't respond. Council ships tried to intercept, to mediate, as they called it. They were warned once to stand down. When they didn't, a single Terran dreadnought disabled an entire peace convoy without firing a lethal shot. Humanity wanted no interference from orbit. Terran Marines dropped in black exosuits, their armor designed to withstand direct plasma hits. They moved like machines, wordless, merciless, methodical. Civilians were evacuated where possible, but command centers, military bunkers, and anything that even smelled like authority were erased. Every time a Varexi broadcast went out, humanity jammed it with the same words: "This is what justice looks like." On the 12th day, the Dominion's capital world fell. The once proud Varexi Senate dome was reduced to molten metal. Every high official responsible for the genocide was captured, tried by a Terran tribunal, and executed by plasma venting into space. The Council, horrified, called an emergency summit. They begged Earth to stop. But Earth didn't answer. Instead, the humans released their findings to every public channel in the galaxy. Footage of the Tarsi's massacre, bodies piled in glass streets, children burned in the shadows of collapsing towers. Humanity didn't censor the horror. They made the galaxy look at it. We were told to be civilized, said the next transmission. But civilization without conscience is just a lie we tell ourselves to sleep at night. The message ended with coordinates, the site of every council world that had voted to ignore the genocide. One by one, their representatives resigned in shame. By the time the war ended, the Dominion was gone. Not conquered, erased. Its symbols outlawed, its banners burned. The Terrans did not annex. They simply left ruins and warnings, and then they stopped. No demands. No tribute. Just silence. Humanity withdrew its fleets to Sol, sealing the borders. But the galaxy had changed forever. The words human intervention became synonymous with extinction-level force. A century-old empire had vanished in under 2 months. And everyone knew Earth could have done worse if it had wanted to. Even among humans, the weight of what they'd done began to sink in. Protests flared on Earth, pacifists calling the retaliation a massacre, veterans calling it justice. The Terran Senate debated morality, but the soldiers who'd fought on the ground remained silent. They had seen what the Varexi did. They had no regrets. Admiral Holt gave no speeches. When asked to justify his campaign, he simply said, "We warned them." Still, the galaxy needed someone to blame. Some called humanity monsters, others called them saviors. But no one dared attack them. Every empire quietly began upgrading their fleets, trying, and failing, to match Terran engineering. In the ruins of the Varexi homeworld, archaeologists later discovered something chilling, a monument left by the humans. It bore no flag, no symbols, only words carved into titanium stone for Tarsi's Prime. For every voice you silenced. Above it was a simple Terran warning, engraved in 20 languages, "We are done playing civilized." Centuries later, historians would call it the moment humanity shed its illusion of innocence, when the galaxy realized that Earth's restraint had always been a choice. The Council reformed, reshaped by fear. A new charter outlawed planetary cleansing and established the Terran Clause, an agreement that if any species attempted genocide again, humanity would have authority to intervene without Council approval, and humanity agreed, but on their own terms. "We don't want to lead," the Terran envoy said. "We just want to make sure no one ever does this again." In secret, entire fleets remained hidden in deep space. The Terrans built what they called silent guardians, autonomous carriers positioned near every council border. They never admitted how many existed. For 1,000 years, no one attempted another genocide. The lesson was too deeply carved into galactic memory. Children learned about it in schools. Alien leaders whispered about it in private. Every time someone asked why the galaxy was peaceful, the answer was always the same: because Earth stopped pretending, and somewhere, in the quiet orbit of Mars, the old flag of Earth still flew aboard the first dreadnought that led the charge, the UTS Retribution. Its hull carried a single inscription near the bridge: "Civility ends where innocence dies."